I just finished my dinner. I wouldn't say it was a huge dinner or a fancy dinner by any means. In fact, it was leftover mac and cheese with some Monte Cristo sandwiches we made on the grill with, I got the wrong kind of Swiss cheese, so it was actually an American version of Swiss cheese. But you know what? That dinner was delicious. Absolutely delicious. I had a glass of fresh pressed apple juice. And now I came outside and I'm sitting here with a Pepperidge Farm Brussels cookies. It's like my favorite kind of little cookies. And a cup of espresso, which I just made like regular coffee. I just like espresso grind. But all of these things put together are just such an amazing thing to me. I mean, I'm still, I have gratitude for all the things that I have in my life. Every little, everything, people, everything. There are times when I get down, when I think, man, I could have more, I could be doing this, could be doing that, but of course that's just being human. But in general, I'm very happy with very little, and I'm grateful for that. But more than just being happy with having little, what I'm more trying to say is that it's important for us to remember that everything we have today, our ancestors fought for so long. Like the simplicity of me having this cookie in my hand. People would have to fresh bake these cookies and they might last a few days. I mean, anybody who's made homemade cookies knows how long they last without preservatives. I mean, I'm not saying preservatives are good, but they're something that have benefited us immensely in society. I mean, especially like during the World War I, when they first came out with like actual tin cans, like soldiers were they were in heaven. They were able to carry real food with them. Of course, they realized later that you shouldn't be using tin or lead-lined cans, but hey, we learned. And earlier when I was in the store and I saw all the milk, I just thought, oh my God, it's disgusting to me to see all that milk and think that it's just this mass-produced factory of cows. But at the same time, I drink milk and I use milk. I like milk. So, I have to say that I'm part of that machine, but beyond the nastiness of the fact of how the animals are treated and whatnot, in a lot of cases, just getting down to the bare idea that now we have milk at our disposal when we need it. It's just something as simple as milk. It's everywhere, I know a lot of people don't like milk or drink milk and approve of it, and that's cool. I like milk. I've tried to get away from it. I've tried to stop drinking it, but I like it too much. In fact, actually, I think I could stop drinking milk completely. But when it comes to chocolate milk, so this cup of coffee, I've got some half and half in there and some sugar. Think about sugar for a minute. Every time I buy a bag of sugar, I think, man, this is awesome that I can actually buy this cane sugar. It's funny because to me that's just the normal way I go about shopping, just thinking, wow, this is cool that I can buy this. And I know to the average person, who shops, they just don't even think twice. It's like, oh, I buy sugar and come home, put it on my table, But I guess it's because I'm just so amazed at, the fact that spices used to be worth so much more than gold. I mean, saffron and pepper and all these different, cloves, and not every area had this, but now, unfortunately, the reason why we have all these things at our disposal is because it's at the exploit of other people. In other words, I watched a show earlier. There was a documentary on Netflix about migrant workers, farmers, and how underpaid they really are. And that's why it always bugs me when people start talking about, how I can't stand to hear people say that, the immigrants are taking our jobs. It's just pathetic, because it's not even an argument. Most people would not take those jobs. I've seen their paychecks. These guys are working 12-hour days, fucking 6-day weeks, 7-day weeks, just to make like a couple $100 if they're lucky in a week, And sure, there's areas where some make more, but in general, migrant workers are paid nothing. Yet we have all this food on our table, and we take it for granted that it should be so cheap. When you go shopping, if you shop at Walmart, for example, and you buy their produce, you're buying that at the cost of the farmers, which they buy their produce from, which the store demands cheaper prices because their customers demand cheaper prices, and in turn they demand to pay less from the farmer, and then the farmer pays less to the workers, and that's just how it works. In that documentary, they talked about the Napa Valley and how, they've got $1,000 bottles of wine down there, but the workers are lucky to even have a place to stay. Most of them have to sleep on the down at the river and on the beaches and stuff because they have nowhere else to stay, and they can't afford to. They don't have housing for them or anything. It's just like they're taken for granted. They're separated from us, and it's the same. It's not just migrant workers in the U.S. It's people around the world. The migrant workers in the U.S. are just one example of how the whole rest of the world operates. Farming has become, it's not the farmer's fault. It's the farming has constantly oppressed people. And we take it for granted that we have all this food and everything's just presented to us. We don't think twice about it. And that's why I'm willing to pay, a little bit more if I can find something that, it looks like it's sustainably produced but we can only go so far. I mean, I'm shopping for a family. I can't sit and research every single product I buy, but I do try to at least shop with things that are, I at least shop at places that I know have some sort of ethics. But even then, I can only know as much as I know, right? It's industry. Take a bite of this Brussels cookie here and dip it in coffee. I know a lot of people are pissed off at the machine and what society's become. But you can't fight the current. The current's taking us a certain direction. You can't fight against it. You can resist becoming part of it. You can opt to not buy into, society, but the fact that we have these things at our disposal. That was a delicious cookie. Well, I for one personally don't take anything for granted. I'm grateful for everything, and I hope you are too. Peace.